Ahoy hoy gang, if this is your first time with us, welcome, and if you're joining us from a previous video, hey, we love to see it, and I hope you're doing well. I was not expecting to be making this video. I was watching the newest season of South Park on Amazon Prime, and that's when I saw it. Sausage Party Foodtopia, a series spin-off of the 2016 animated classic. Did you know Sausage Party is actually still, to this day, the highest-grossing adult animated comedy of all time? I remember watching it in theaters with my roommate fresh out of college, and it was, man, what an experience. I'm not about to say it's the epitome of animation or anything, but if nothing else, it was experimental. It was an animated Seth Rogen movie, and it never tried to be anything more than that. The movie succeeded because it had sharp jokes, better than expected pacing, and an absolutely star-studded cast. Nick Kroll, Selma Hayek, Kristen Wiig, Michael Cera, Seth Rogen, Bill Hader, Jonah Hill, and even Edward Norton as Sammy Bagel Jr. The movie made over $100 million off of a budget of less than $19 million, and just more than a couple dozen allegations of overwork at the production studio for the film. It was a commentary on religion and recontextualizing it for different cultures while fighting off douches. It worked because it never took itself too seriously and understood at the end of the day, it's just dumb food being dumb doing dumb things. And so, a show based off the most successful R-rated animated comedy of all time, even beating Team America World Police, for scale, it had to be good, right? Wrong. Just dead wrong. I watched the show. I watched all 2 seasons that were out at the time of recording this, and I went back to the movie to have it fresh in my head before the review, and honestly, that was the most enjoyable part of this entire journey. This is just, Megamind the series, Megamind 2, whatever, all over again. Except, with some of the original voices. The movie did a lot, but it largely worked because of the exaggerated visuals, fantastic voice acting, and it was quick with the jokes. And it never bit off more than it could chew. And I genuinely enjoy edgy comedy like Sausage Party. But this show, how does it compare to, I'm not about to say one of the greatest movies of all time, but a movie of all time? Well, there's only one way to find out, and 3 questions that must be asked. What worked, what failed, what bath salts, Mecha series tropes will be curtailed? Yeah, get ready for it. Is there love in this bun? It's time to review Season 1. Alright, so Sausage Party ends with the whole crew going into a portal to confront the actors that brought them to life. Might be an interesting idea for a show, kind of a Roger Rabbit idea, maybe? What's that now? They retconned the original ending? Cool. They retconned the ending of a movie about a talking hot dog getting high with firewater and saying co-opting religion for your personal views is wrong? That's a bold move, but I'm sure they had a really, really great idea for it. After the food takes out all the people in the grocery store, they take the fight to the greater grocery store parking lot and do Operation Dessert Storm. That's gonna be the show, folks. Food puns for people born in the 80s. Gee, I wonder why. And, I remember the falafel from the movie? He gets taken out off-screen by some forks flying, and so Sammy Bagel Jr. is just dragging around his corpse in shock, and it's a lot to come into a first episode with. It's this really interesting dichotomy, because, you're really hoping people are in for this show. They see the Sausage Party and go, oh man, I love that movie. But if they go into the show after directly finishing the movie, it's a jarring experience. It's going from a food orgy to one of the main characters dying to something. Just a bunch of forks flying out of nowhere. For no reason. For no reason. I mean, seriously. Who would watch the movie a show is based off of before the show? Poppycock. Now, obviously, you can't have a gay bagel and falafel representing the West Bank. I get why they had to take that character out, but I mean, they did it so just quickly, I thought it was from the movie till I revisited it. I thought, wow, maybe he really didn't make it to the end. I was pretty sure he did. Nope, he did. They were just that confident that this was a better idea than what the movie did. So, after clearing the parking lot, we get a brief time jump, and thanks to the help of gum, the gang is able to wipe out all of humanity as they know it. Probably just cheaper than animating more characters, but sure, most humans are gone. All the humans were taken out by sentient food, pelting them with bath salts. That's right, bath salts. That drug from 2016 is back and better than ever, baby. See, the food can only interact with humans if they are on bath salts. Barry becomes a human hunter, Frank and Brenda unite the food people, and as they walk their new Foodtopia, they of course break out into a full-on orgy, as is tradition. This is Open Season 3. This is Megamind 2. This is that direct-to-DVD quality that somehow got some of the original cast back. It looks cheap, it sounds cheap, you can tell some of the lines were very obviously recorded in a closet, and worst of all, it's just not even that funny. I get that comedy is subjective, but it's so paint by numbers to a fault, and yet weirdly conscious of its own narrative. It never relaxes. It is trying too hard for a sausage party show. See, when everyone is living their best lives, that's when tragedy hits and the sky begins to cry and rain falls. I don't know why I was like, the sky begins to cry. They don't know words for things. So they don't call it night, they call it the time between like dusk and dawn. And it's just such a dumb thing that they don't know what night is or they don't know what rain is. It's just, at what point does the food become sentient? At what point do they have any kind of knowledge? Food is very, very dumb. And I get that's kind of the point, but it's just, it's just, I can't poke holes in it too early. It's just, they have no idea what this sky water is, and it starts picking them off one after another. Food that is able to wipe out humanity can't fight the rain. Like, I know it's just absurd for the sake of being absurd, but the movie at least did something more with those elements. But a piece of rice is abandoned during the flood by an orange named Julius, get it? Orange Julius, who proceeds to take a human tooth instead, and Gum sacrifices himself to save the core team. Meanwhile, Barry is out looking for lost food in the woods and finds that some humans survived and is determined to hunt them down. Dun, dun, dun. It's definitely a setup for a show. A lot happens in one episode, I will admit. I just, if you think you know where the show is going from this point, you don't. I promise you have no idea. I don't know. If the jokes were sharper and the delivery was less stilted, I think I would have liked this more, or at least not cared about continuity issues in the sausage movie. But it expects you to care about it, like we'll see in the next episode. Like, this is a food comedy series, and they couldn't even be bothered to come up with dumb pun names for the episodes. You know, no bun of one or something stupid. I can't even think of one, but you can come up with 16 food puns. No, this is just first course, second course, third course. It's just like, oh, yum yum, that's dull. That's not creative. This isn't creative. None of this is creative. And that's so baffling. No, you know what? Ranking. Not entirely unwatchable, I guess. So like 5 out of 10? Maybe? Do I smell toast? Alright, you know what? The last episode had to rewrite the lore of the sausage verse. It was doing a lot of narrative heavy lifting. This is when things are gonna turn around. I can feel it. They would in fact not turn around. So Barry, Frank, and Brenda go on an expedition into the woods while the food all return to the grocery store that's quickly falling apart. While in the woods, they find 3 humans, including Jack, played by new series regular Will Forte. I guess let's just get this out of the way. This is not a small-time series. We have Sam Richardson as Julius the Orange, Sugar Lynn Beard as Jerry Rice, Jay Farrow, David Krumholtz, Gray DeLise, Natasha Rothwell. Oh yeah, and Academy Award-winning actor Edward Norton. Oh sure, too insufferable for another Hulk movie, but he's chomping at the bit to be the Bagel again. True story, actually. He just genuinely loves this character and wanted to come back for it. And you know what his plot is? He becomes a stand-up comic to fight through his grief of losing his lover, which again was an edit to the movie. It's definitely something. So the trio find the humans, and Barry makes mention that if Douche could pilot the humies, then he could also by shooting up their back door. He lubes himself up and shoots inside Jack's 7th planet from the sun and pilots him like a mech against his friends. That's right, folks. An element of the last movie that was just, haha, Douche is piloting the manager that does not deserve what he's getting at all, is now an integral part of the series. Did you have Super Robot Sausage Party on your bingo card? Except it's more Robot Jocks and less Gundam. And I say that as someone that loves Robot Jocks. Go watch Robot Jocks. Infinitely more entertaining. Robot Jocks. Yeah, no, he pilots him in his ass or in his crotch. They have him piloting it 2 different ways. It's odd. They use Jack to save everyone from the crumbling grocery store. A piece of rice looks at Julius the Orange's ample dump truck, which I'm sure won't be important later on, and they all plan to do a Burning Man with Jack to roast him alive in celebration. Sammy, of course, wanted to turn it into a huge show so they can all watch him be awesome and cool. I mean, I'll say it. I would not care if Jack just disappeared. Man, it's just an unfortunate design. Like, I know the Sausage Party designs were unique, but they were very intentional. This is just odd looking. He looks like Zach Galifianakis' Sasquatch in that Missing Link movie. He looks like a human from, like the Megamind series or some open season spinoff of a spinoff. He just looks cheap. There's way less shading and rendering on screen, and everything you see just feels so small and simply textured. Like the movie had such a depth to the coloring, to the shading. There were incredibly animated scenes. And this, it's such a downgrade. It feels like it was built in Unity. Like, I swear, like, just made the quickest way imaginable. There did not feel like there was any love in this animation process whatsoever. Anyway, as the food are running back into Foodtopia, Julius claims a restaurant as his, and he refuses to let anyone else in. The dark seed of civilization has begun to sprout. Second course is, I guess, like a 5 out of 10? Still there! Yeah! I think this is where I figured out what the problem with this series is. Frank and Brenda are having second doubts about burning Jack alive, and Sammy is gonna put on a really big show! But first we gotta have some auditions! Look, it's Adil! Megan the Scallion! Bruno Mars! Machine Gun Jelly! Soy George, which is a play on Boy George? It's just sort of like, what? I am not a prude when it comes to comedy, I promise. I am not some stick in the mud that can't laugh at anything. I genuinely love things like I Think You Should Leave, Tim and Eric, On Cinema, and of course my favorite, Check It Out. Meta, or subversive comedy, is a true, genuine love of mine. And you could easily argue that Sausage Party was a subversive comedy success when it came out. And I hate that I have to sing the praises of the movie, because the show, instead of doing any kind of deeper commentary, just does food puns. In the movie, they had a running douche line, sure, but the only other major celebrity food pun was just meatloaf. And that was tied several times into the movie. That's it. This becomes a recurring thing throughout the show. It's just food puns. Like, the movie always had this tongue-in-cheek air to it. Remember the Saving Private Ryan gag, where the carts crash into each other and the foods are struggling to survive? That's juxtaposed with someone just sweeping them up and dumping them in the trash. That was the joke. They were cartoon characters, and they acknowledged that they were these weird, warped cartoon characters. This is taking everything so literally, like they have to justify how humans can see their destructors with the power of bath salts. But who cares? It's a show about talking food. Why is it so restrained? Also, Barry is complaining about being alone when the movie literally ended with him finding a bun just like him. But no, he's alone for this. Frank and Brenda decide to save Jack, who gives them an idea for a scarecrow to keep them safe from birds. But they have to hide Jack from Barry, who can't stand those monstrous humies. Okay, since this is an ongoing thing, may as well ask, who is making the processed foods? Is all the food on a timer now? Food goes rotten, it has to. Realistically, they'd all be dead in a matter of days. They treat everything else like it's real, so it's just odd that they aren't treating that like some kind of ticking clock. Yet. Emphasis on yet. Julius also starts using human teeth as a currency and charges people for the opportunity to come into the restaurant to get a view of the show or use their industrial freezers, even if they're perishable. Yeah, that's the theme of the season. Money corrupts. Thanks for playing. With Jack saved, a harsh reality comes into play. Jack is hungry, and he needs to eat, or he'll die. So the food have to find something for him to eat. Also, minor thing, but inanimate objects aren't living in this. It's just food. Just makes interactions weird. This is when the show started to teeter. It takes itself way too seriously for a show about talking food. Third course is, 4 out of 10. I was going to talk about this in the last episode, but it's just a little more applicable here. The episode opens with two foods racing each other in toy cars while a song plays explaining the situation where a can of tuna is driving. So of course, it's a parody of the hit song Barracuda called Ooh, Can of Tuna. 0 pun songs in the original movie, by the way. Really, only 2 songs, and one was a Meatloaf song that they licensed. So I don't know where this is coming from or really who this is for. Last episode, they had the Talking Breads to perform about toast. Get it? Talking Breads? Ha! Oh, so wacky. This is when I wrote the show off. I know. Halfway through the season? Come on, academic, how could you give up? And I'll tell you how. This episode is all about setting up a police force for a society because people are stealing teeth to get into Julius's so their families don't die. Okay. Very nuanced thing to approach with food, but maybe they'll do it right. Oh, here's the cops now. Chris Bologna, a play on Chris Maloney. Marked Cargiate, or what? It's a dumb pun of Mariska Hargitay. And of course, iced tea. His wife's name is Hot Cocoa. Do you get it? Are you laughing? I'm not. Oh, look, they have a court system. And the Honorable Judge Rutabaga Ginsburg. A recurring character. Do you get it? Are you laughing? Oh, and how do Frank and Brenda get around that pesky Jack needing food thing? You know, they make him a cannibal. And in theory, for a concept like this, that could work. I'm not saying that's not how you do something like that, but they never even really elevate the joke that they're presenting. It's all just so matter of fact. They never take it further. It's all so shoehorned, and the jokes and references are very dated. This is the show your burnout uncle swears is one of the funniest things ever made, and he hasn't laughed this hard since Farzar. Farzar deserves it. And I'm not gonna, glorify the movie too much. The movie was mocking different cultures using religion to justify their actions. Oh, look, the sauerkraut is MAGA. The Asian food has Asian accents that probably don't stand up in 2025. Sure, racial caricatures. But that's what the movie was. And you know what? It did it in 2016 with its whole chest out, and it's because they were so confident in the jokes they delivered that it arguably worked. It did not hold back. It was willing to commit all the way. if you're gonna make something that raunchy, that dark, that intentionally offensive to really everyone, you need to go all the way with it. This show is just, oops, tee, civilization is bad, isn't that right, Ice-T? And then makes references to things that were dated 9 years ago, much less this year. The show has very obviously been sitting collecting dust for a couple years. Season 1 came out last year and was dropping that solid American Top 40 bop, Can of Tuna. Yeah. Anyway, Julius proposes they have an election to see who should lead the food. Ah yes, money corrupts and food society is becoming more and more human. Cool. I don't know, man. 3 out of 10. Remember Douche? Remember how he was going around eating foods to refill his fluids and get absolutely juiced, bro? That's a good villain right there. Julius sets up a teeth currency system where he's at the head and starts pampering fruits in his restaurant so they'll vote for him. Brenda and Frank try and beat him with a grassroots campaign, and Jack convinces Frank he's got to be fast and furious to make some real change in the world. Ha. Ha ha ha. Always Fast and the Furious. Never anything else. It has to be, if you're doing a heist, it's got to be Fast and the Furious. God forbid we do something not Fast and the Furious. Sammy gets put on trial for stealing a cereal box's claim on an electronics store, and Julius bribes Rutabaga so that Sammy will work for him and make state-sponsored media that makes him look good. And okay, I know, an election and a literal giant orange, release the files. You'd think this would be about a certain President Orange, release the files. But while it's about politics and civilization, there's no real political or even racial discourse. Julius is literally just Orange Julius, release the files. Maybe a Julius Caesar reference on their best day. There's a caste system, absolutely, but it's really just tiny food suffers while big food succeeds. I guess? Even the opening of the episode is an egg dying while trying to support her family and cracking. Then all of her family slips on her yolk and dies too. Huh? Their formula is too formulaic at this point. It's too by the numbers. When you go for shock comedy, this is gonna sound controversial, I know, but you gotta shock them. You gotta do it in a way that makes people go, oh snap! Do something they aren't expecting. This entire season is just so predictable. Frank does a heist as a potato and peels out into the night, while Barry is positive he knows who was getting away. I'll say this. Kristen, Wiig, Michael Cera, and Edward Norton are actually all in and trying their best with their characters. And Julius is played by Sam Richardson, a man that knows what a buff boy really looks like because he was a little buff boy. You have one of the funniest meta comics in the game right now, and he's just a talking orange. That's it. Evil Orange is evil. Or is he? Rutabaga Ginsburg for the pun, and elect Orange. Ha. It's okay. Almost done with the season. Let's finish strong. 5th course is an expired 3 out of 10. This episode opens with a warning. A warning that this episode contained content that was so extreme, so inappropriate that you had to be warned. Why are they warning you? Oh, you have no idea. Also, I didn't talk about it, but Edward Norton also plays this nitrate documentarian in the form of Wiener Herzog. I hate taking an air sometimes. He keeps coming back doing this Wiener Herzog, Werner Herzog impression. And I just keep going, man, I miss Dave Herman. I never thought Dave Herman does an impression better than Edward Norton would ever come out of my mouth. And yet here we are. For some reason, Edward Norton thought, let me do a Werner Herzog real quick. And you know what? I don't care. If he's having fun, more power to him. He is genuinely one of the least offensive parts of this entire thing. He's trying, if nothing else. He's just having his own little adventures. What's going on over at that plot? Oh, look, they bring all the potatoes in and racially profile them while doing a usual suspects thing. Cool. Brenda hates that Frank stole the teeth, but Jack is proud of him and supports him while Brenda goes to make a real difference. Frank and Brenda end up on a break while Sammy continues running the broadcast waves. Barry is convinced that Frank was behind it all, and when he convinces Brenda to take him to the Humie, they see it. They see the reason for the warning. Frank and Jack are bumping uglies. I'm not going to show it, obviously, but also like, bruh, what even is this? Remember the big food orgy at the end of the first movie? That is arguably hilarious because it's so over the top. This just looks bad. It looks like some dumb junk mail chain video your grandpa would laugh at before playing another game of elf bowling where they go gutter ball on his computer. Ha ha, goo-covered hot dog, I laugh. Life's a funny proposition sometimes. You try to make it as a YouTuber and entertain people and educate them about media criticism, and then boom, you gotta talk about Frank frauding. Yeah, I just had to say that. At the debate, Brenda and Frank split the vote against each other, and Brenda wants a socialist utopia while Julius wants to rule everything, and spoilers, Julius wins, and all hope is almost lost. Ranking, 2 out of 10. Really not amusing. I'll say, like, I'm not a prude or anything. It was just a poorly animated episode, and I get why, I guess legally, potentially there was a warning in the episode. It didn't need to be there. That was part of the joke. I am 100% sure. The Boys gets away with way worse. All right, it's the all is lost climax. Julius is in charge and Brenda's determined to talk to him and get him to see some reasoning. Okay, cool. This show is so stretched out. I mean, way too stretched. So many scenes go on for like 45 seconds too long. Even the opening of the episode has this heavy as the head that wears the tooth crown thing going on that just doesn't do anything with. There's a moment where it's like, Julius, you need me. I don't need you. And it's like, oh, what's going on? Is Julius messed up in the head? And it's like, we just met Julius. He's a brand new character. We know nothing about him, and we have 2 episodes to go. What? Something is going on. But do you care? Anyway, Frank goes to end it with Jack since he doesn't want to lose his friends, and Jack says that he's in love with Frank. That he's in love with a hot dog that keeps him drugged with bath salts. Oh, and Sammy has a new sidekick, Melon Gibson. It's not even a good Mel Gibson impression. Also, who thinks about Mel Gibson anymore? Who is this show for? Traditionally, adult animated series focus towards a millennial or Gen X demographic. People that grew up with things like Aeon Flux and Beavis and Butthead or SpongeBob and Family Guy. Things that shape their appreciation of animation and what they break down as a joke. Gen Z grew up with things like Phineas and Ferb. Or, Gen A and future generations grew up with things like Bluey. Those shape how we develop comedy, how we develop an appreciation for media. What we start with teaches us how to engage with it. So who is this for? Is this the older crowds? The Mr. Bertram audience that's desperate to get that itch scratched? All 4 of them? Nope. It's just nothing. It feels like it's marketed towards no one. Like throughout the season, sure, in the slums, you see Amazon boxes, which is like, jab, 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 Amazon, jab, jab. But otherwise, this is a nothing show. It does not have any teeth. It is a gummer hummer of a show. Sausage Party is a great dumb hangout movie. You never have to pay attention. If you give it a few minutes, usually you'll get a laugh out of you. This, one long, steady flat line. Just a steady, constant descent into madness. Oh, look, Julius is in a contraption and Brenda sneaks in to see what's going on. Oh, snap! Jerry Rice has been inside Julius this entire time and has been working him like a puppet to enact her revenge on everyone that blew her off or neglected her. Whoa, what a deep and engaging story. What a twist shocker. In Sausage Party. And even back in the second episode of the season, when they set this up, it's pretty telegraphed this is what's happening. If you even try any amount of critical thought, you can get to this conclusion. You may not have put the pieces together, but they really wanted to look so cool for leaving clues throughout the season. The problem was I never really cared about Julius enough to ever care about it. It never materialized for me. Anyway, Brenda fights with Jerry Rice and she's able to turn the water on and melt Brenda. That's right, Kristen Wiig was taken out of the series for the sake of the show. Like, why? Who is this for? Who was like, I need more gritty murder mystery whodunit in my food show? I think it overplayed its hand. Frank is framed for Brenda's death and we head into the climactic climax that I'm sure you're climaxing and chomping at the bit for. Oh, right, 3 out of 10, I guess. And here we are, the season finale. Look, we've had fun, right? Remember when Danny McBride was honey mustard? Oh, how we laughed. Oh. Remember when Selma Hayek Taco liked how Brenda was dummy thick and wanted to split her buns? Well, she's dead now. The bun is dead. Are you not entertained? It's 2024 and they're still talking about bath salts. They're still doing these basic ideas. They never stick the landing on what they're going for, and at this point, it's just sad. Like the big funeral scene at the beginning is a Dust in the Wind parody detailing how she died. So it's not even supposed to be like a gutting moment, it's played as a joke. They never take anything even moderately serious, even though it's presented as a serious threat. Not that they should, but also maybe don't kill off characters for dramatic effect and then undercut all of that energy when you're already doing a lot about a series about a talking hot dog? Like, why? Anyway, Sammy gets fired and replaced by Duncan the Donut. Get it? And he and Barry team up with Jack to free Frank and save the day. Oh look, they team up and they're able to fight back and take Julius down, revealing that Jerry was behind it all. Aw man, Jerry is having a change of heart, you guys. Frank is showing her mercy. Wow, things are really looking up. And a bird ate her. It's just so telegraphed. That's what I have a problem with. You can do these things, but your sound work and audio engineering needs to be perfect. Your cuts need to be flawless. It's just, it's too perfect. It's like a bad monster movie. When they set the character up in the middle of the screen so you know they're going to be eaten by some special effect and just yanked to the bottom of the water or whatever. It was set up too perfect for it to have any shock impact whatsoever. It was slacking. It was absolutely lacking. And so, with Julius out of commission and no leader, the food starts to rebel and act up until Frank summons his kaiju Jack and uses him to keep the food in order, ruling with an iron fist and concluding the first season. I love that the first season ends with Frank atop his armored mecha ruling over his people. That's what I always knew the Sausage Party Extended Universe was missing. You said that, right? We all said that collectively when we left the theater, how humans should be mecha piloted by foods, right? Guys? I'll admit, I watched season 1 because I saw season 2 was out, and I saw it and went, well, I have no idea what they could possibly be setting up in season 2, and I genuinely had no idea. I did not guess any of this was happening, but for now, this finale is here. It sure does conclude the story on a cliffhanger for you to see what Frank the Fascist has planned next. What is this show? It was bad, okay? It was just a bad season. I'm not about to sit here and say it was the worst season of anything. Still better than Mr. Burcham, thank God. But it was not good. And yet, it was necessary for the second season to happen. I'm not saying the second season is good, but you need the first season to properly appreciate just what you're about to watch. And so, without further ado, here is season 2. Well, hey gang, Academic here. We joke a lot, but I want to make sure you're staying hydrated, not being too hard on yourself. Life is hard right now, and I'm proud of you for being you, bud. Just figured we needed a little positivity pit stop. Now, season Season 2. Alright, elevator pitch? Pacific Rim with food. You heard me. You have no idea what that means, but it's a lot. So, what worked? What failed? What cannibalistic cravings will be curtailed? Are there any faults? Oh, more than a few. Here in Season 2. Last season, Frank decided to rule with an iron fist. This season, the entire community is plotting against him and wants to take him out. Barry and Sammy try to sneak into the secret meetings to find out why they're trying to take out Frank, who thinks that everything is going wonderfully, even having a new musical at the start of the episode where everyone is singing about him, and he effectively can't even get the fruit to pull some fridges up of a rope because they're just not strong enough to, and Jack can't do it on his own. It's really kind of sad. His heart's in the right place. He's just straight up a moron. Like he's forcing people to share unfairly and being as uneven as possible. He's a horrible leader, and honestly, all of these characters are just the worst. Jack wants to fit in with food as he continues eating people, and Frank sleeps in Jack's underwear. Barry finds out they want to do an Ides of March with Frank, and when they meet with everyone, they get Frank exiled instead of murdered. But Sammy and Barry get exiled with him for their trouble. I mean, the intro song was at least not a parody of another song. It was an original. It's just about how horny food is. I'll say it. Sausage Party was a sharp 89 minutes long. If that was a 2-hour movie, hot take, it would not have been as good as it ended up being. Each season of this show is 8 episodes, and they're all about 25 to 30 minutes each, meaning give or take about 30 minutes each season is effectively as long as an entire new trilogy of Sausage Party movies. So you better have a strong reason to bring it back, especially for this much. Because I'm guessing this was a 24 episode order, and they were just holding off on dropping it, and it's easy to see why. This season was made around 2022, and the fact we're just now seeing it is very telling. But the gang is banished. How will they possibly survive? What lies beyond the horizon? Only one way to find out. Sounds like I'm announcing what happened on the last episode of Star Wars. Separatists unite against the Republic! Jedi fight across the galaxies. It's the road episode! Yeah! Yay! Jack carries everyone back to his hometown, but he forgot to take his bath salts with him, so he's starting to lose his buzz. Oh no. They go through the woods and are attacked by a bunch of wild berries. Get it? Wild berries. They're animalistic berries because they have wild in the name. And they have to save Jack and fight their way through. Barry is tired of Frank complaining about his dead partner and how much he misses Brenda, but Barry promises that he'll be nicer to Frank to make up for it. Did you know one of Michael Cera's earliest roles was as the brother on the Berenstein Bears show? Isn't that neat? Oh look, Sammy is pitching shows to Frank, and it's funny because he's a TV guy now, and aren't you laughing at his antics? Oh look, a heart-to-heart in a pocket between two weenies making up, and then Frank ruins it. Yay, Frank. The gang keep marching, and right when they're at their wits' end, they look out and see civilization. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, it's an idea. It's just, do you do this episode after 8 episodes of not really building these characters up in any meaningful way that they would need a road episode? A road episode is traditionally where characters have a bunch of one-on-ones, they develop their relationships, things get deeper. A lot of, really good Walking Dead episodes are quote-unquote road episodes, where you're following an adventure from start to finish that brings everything back and they're stronger for it. This road episode doesn't do anything. It literally just progresses the narrative, but it kinda still manages to spin its wheels. It's like it's rolling down a hill. It has no control on how fast it gets to the end, but it's gonna keep going for it. Here's new civilization. It's an idea. I don't know about being a good idea, but let's give it some room. Let's stretch its people legs. The food had to leave Jack behind since he couldn't see them anymore without his bath salts, and they head for the new city, Newfoundland. They look around in awe at all the fridges and happy food that are living their best lives. The food had even learned how to even beat the rain. Wow! The gang walk around Newfoundland just absolutely gawking at everything. Food driving real human-sized cars with little help. Food making movies. Sammy sees a Shawshank Redemption parody and develops a passion for cinema. And they all get chased by the citizens and hailed as heroes because it was thanks to Frank that they were able to rise up against the humans. Somehow. Notable new voices of the season are Martin Starr as a boob cake, Gillian Bell as Trish the brain nut, and Marion Cotillard as Dijon, a trained French martial artist condiment with a penchant for violence. Trish walks everyone through Newfoundland and tries to find a place where everyone can belong. We then see Jack being wheeled into a garage and some kind of machinery turning on. When Frank and the gang go to save Jack, he's had a bath salt patch slapped on and he's been all cleaned up. We then get the big reveal of the season. Newfoundland has prospered because they still have humans and that they've turned them into pilotable mechas with special power suits, while Barry just raw dogs it when he pilots Jack. Yeah, that's right. Welcome to a weird Pacific Rim-esque Bravern whatever mecha series. There you go. Did you have Michael Cera Butt Sausage Mecha Show as something you feasibly might have guessed existed? No, of course not, because you're normal. It does not get better, gang. Just straight up weirder. I really can't emphasize how nothing this show is. It does not sway me one way or the other. I don't hate this show, I pity it. We're halfway through the season already, and sure, we got Newfoundland set up, but it's not particularly funny or gripping in any way. They just keep dragging these things out. They did not have enough ideas for this season, it shows. There is so much fluff. This episode is egregious with it. We find out about how the food uses the humans and how the humans benefit society while being piloted, setting up fridges and working together. Jack gets enlisted in the human project and starts going through training when he meets Jill, another human. There are other humans, but none of them really matter. Jill is piloted by Dijon, and Jack is piloted by Barry, who has a crush on Dijon and is training with Dijon to be a pilot of the Flesh Mechs. Like, how could you ever watch the movie and go, you know what? Humans piloted via food and butt plug suits. That's the element I need. That's even a pun in and of itself. Plug suits? Get it? I can't. Sammy goes to meet with one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. Want to guess who he is? Francis Ford Capicola. I'm done. I'm done. That's all this show is food puns now. Again, can't emphasize enough, that was not what the movie did at all. Sure, Frank is short for Frankfurter or whatever, but like, there were not constant food puns all the time. Every joke of this show is from a pun. Sometimes they just say off-the-wall things. Firewater had a lot of great lines in that movie. No, Sativa, real good hit. That's great. That's fantastic. Look, oh, hee, the food makes food movies now, and they're funny. So Sammy decides to turn his harrowing journey in the movie into an actual movie and catalog the loss of his partner. I want to point out that Sammy is making a movie that is a different telling of the original movie, since the original movie did not end with forks flying. Oh, and what's Frank doing while all this is going on? Well, Frank has to go to school because Frank can't read. He's just so dumb. There's not a single winkle on that little pork brain of his. Dijon and Barry get closer as Jack and Jill learn more about each other, and Jill tries to help Jack through his trauma until they have to go on a refueling run. See, Newfoundland keeps their humans happy and healthy by driving them out to different hideouts and having them eat any food that's around there so that they can stay strong to keep helping their society. This sickens Jack and Barry that they could do this. You know what? I'll say it. You can't really have these kinds of moral quandaries in a series about talking food. How could the hot dog feel horror if it was never constructed by man? You can't sit there and try and play with the formula of a series with a character like Francis Ford Capicola. If this was, say, Attack on Titan and was a Titan debating eating people as a food and energy source, hey, there you go. That is at least an artificial moral quandary you can give your character to overcome. No one would ever be put put into that position realistically, but if they were, they would actually have to choose in that situation. If I was in Sausage Party and was presented the choice of food or cannibalized dead bodies, chat, I regret to inform you, I would choose food. Which, I love that they're building out the world, but the movie falls apart if you think about supply lines at all. Paper towels are alive, chips are alive, beer, fruits, veggies, bread, soy sauce. Wouldn't they remember being packaged? When do they come to life? Do they only come to life if they came out of the grocery store? Wouldn't it make sense if cars or more complex machines were also alive? And the movie gets rid of all this by going literally at the end, hey, we're all cartoons, don't think too much on it. Let's all go and give these people a piece of our minds. But this decides, hey, what if humans get wiped out by food? What are the moral ramifications and challenges to food building their own society and developing kaiju mecha action fight sequences? Why? Who was this for? If you genuinely enjoyed this show and believe it's one of the greatest things ever made, are you okay? Do you need anything? Hydrate. The last scenes are them horrified that humans are eating food. And the humans are not fun to look at all, don't worry, but we force ourselves through it. We have to. Jonah Hill is an executive producer on this show. That gets funnier the more time goes on. Alright, Frank can read now, and Dijon is mad that Barry disobeyed orders. Jack has a moral crisis over eating food, and Jill is teaching him that it's okay to eat food and not eat people. What a concept. Frank gets told about how the humans eat food and how horrible it is, but also how necessary it is. What are we doing here? It was just a dumb movie about food with an evil douche in it. Oh look, Frank is talking about how horrible and bountiful Foodtopia is and how they'd be ripe for the picking and no one would miss them. Gee, wonder what's gonna happen. Wonder who the council's gonna decide to feed to their humans next. Frank really has no redeeming qualities. He had them in the movie, none here. Honestly, Barry would have been a better protagonist, and even then, maybe just don't make the show at all. Sometimes your creative vision doesn't need to be realized. That's all I'm saying. Pick up a new hobby. I get it. It's cheap to make and you can sell it to a studio. But maybe keep it in the vault. Write it off on taxes. Maybe this didn't need to come out. I am positive they made this for less money than they made the entire movie on. And that movie was only $20 million to make, but it's really starting to feel cheap. This is Killer Bean quality right here. It's just almost unwatchable in parts and just tiring. This was not a funny season. It wasn't a dramatic season. It's an animated series that somehow has some of the biggest names attached to it, and it's still just kind of there. Oh no, at the end of the episode, they reveal they're gonna feed Foodtopia to the humans to keep them alive and maintain their society and keep evolving and growing. Oh no, not Rutabaga Ginsburg. That would be horrible. Frank sees the plan to go after Foodtopia and he decides he has to warn and save them all. He runs off and tries to get Barry and the gang, but Jack and Sammy stay behind to follow their new callings. This show is just entirely too long. 16 episodes and too long. We're almost at the end, but man, it has been a slog. Jack is having second thoughts about being with the humans and attacking a land of food to eat food instead of people. Which, what are we doing, guys? I can't believe I'm saying that with a straight face. And Sammy gets thrown out when he tries to show everyone the horrors of war through his cinema and gets strapped to one of the raid rides, Mad Max style. I will admit, the Mad Max visuals at the end of the episode did look funny. If this was 14 episodes ago, that might have gotten a yuck or two out of me. Alas, it's in the season that I've seen people say is more visually stunning than the movie, to which I ask, in what world is any of this stunning? Seriously, that feels like AstroTurf. It feels like you worked on the show if you're saying that. There's no way. Sure, big stakes. Don't you care what's going to happen to Rutabaga Ginsburg or Julius the Orange or all your favorite, not from the movie characters except for the eggplant from that one movie scene with Meatloaf? Yeah, no, none of the new characters have really done anything to stand out, and it is just sort of here's the core three doing whatever they do since we took out Kristen Wiig. It's just kind of there. It's sort of a high-speed chase into an uneventful final battle. I'm so tired, gang. With Barry gone, Jack meets his new partner, Maverick, a Tom Cruise Top Gun parody, because Top Gun Maverick came out in 2022. They also did a Will Smith slap meme about a peach with alopecia in the second episode of the season, and the slap was also in 2022. This came out on the ass end of 2025. A lot's happened since then. It just makes the references feel that much more dated. It's a really grating Tom Cruise impression too. Like, come on, man, really go for it. This is epic movie levels bad. You can do better. It's just never that last push to a really good impression, you know? Anyway, Frank and Barry are captured and tortured to reveal where the entrance to Foodtopia is. They refuse to talk as Jill starts mixing them in a recipe, which, I mean, yeah, that does sound pretty horrific for food, but I mean, come on, not really done for any comedic effect, I guess, so I don't really know why I'm watching a hot dog get tortured, but I have seen that now. And Dijon is questioning her loyalty to the nut and the new Foodland utopia because they're making her compromise her morals and fight for things she may not believe in the series that I can't believe I have to emphasize this again, is about talking hot dogs. Why are we making this Gundam Wing geopolitical nonsense about Sausage Party Foodtopia? What is going on? Jack tries to get everyone to trust him and has second thoughts about attacking Foodtopia, which is just not the plot they think it is. But it's all been revving up to this, the season finale, the final big smackdown. What could possibly happen? Nothing. Oh wow, the humans found a back entrance and attacked the Foodtopians where they least expected it. Jack fed everyone special energy balls that he made himself. How thoughtful? Oh, and then they all fight, and it's tiny fruit and food fighting giant humans. They're spraying cockpits and hopping around, and everyone is throwing down, and it's all these big action scenes. Man, it's the payoff of 16 episodes of adventure. The Human Titan Wars in my Sausage Party show about talking hot dogs. What are we doing? Has society failed? It must have. There's no other excuse for it. That's just the episode. They fight. For Avengers Endgame, that works. You had 10 some odd years of movies building up to it. You know, when Aragorn comes up over the hill with the Ghost Army in Return of the King, and they all charge and it looks real badass, that was earned. You earned that fight. Sausage Party has plug suit foods fighting in flesh mechs for a brighter tomorrow, and then they end up eating laxative chocolates and blasting them out at record speeds. They use gross out humor in the last moment, and it's so horribly animated that it just takes away all the weight of it. If you're gonna do something like that, you make it as realistic as possible, as visceral as possible, and that gets the biggest laugh out of people. You make it weird, you make it awkward, you make it intense. This is just nothing. This is Sausage Party for teenagers, not adults. It's vapid. It is nothing. Anyway, the end of the episode has Jack taking the humans and being picked up by a helicopter and taken to a secret military compound where they meet a general played by the late, great, one of Brooklyn's finest, Andre Braugher. He tragically passed in 2022, so it's not a matter of dated writing, just being either shelved or in production for too long. They even end the season with a reveal of a tool that will help humans take the war back to the food and reclaim the land. What? Why do you need that? They're food. We know you can beat them with a hose. This is not the place to do a story like this. You could do this with like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs because they established that the food is a viable threat, that it is created through weather and things like that. Like if you wanted to do that, do it with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. You know, the massive food storms have taken out humanity and we have to struggle to survive as we wander these food apocalypse landscapes. Like, you can do that with that. You can't really do it with Sausage Party. It's just, It's not even ridiculous enough to work. That's the part that gets me. It never takes that extra step and just embraces being too far for the sake of being too far. It's bland, predictable, and just a slog. I would be shocked if anyone laughed their way through the show. And if you're not laughing at a series about a talking hot dog, there's truly something wrong with our society. We need to do better. 2 out of 10. I'm convinced the 3rd season is done and ready to drop. I'm sure I'll talk about it, and I'm sure it won't be good. I don't know why I felt compelled to talk about this series. I had to. It was really, really bad, you guys. It didn't do anything substantial, and every time I saw it, I just kept wondering, why? Why does it exist? What purpose does it serve? And sometimes it's just the story of a hot dog. Anyway, anything you think I was right on? Wrong on? Is it even possible for you to have a favorite episode? Least favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like what you saw, make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends we're out here. Still at a conceptual level better than Mr. Bertram, which is a very low bar, but still there. It's not even worth you cringe, you drink watch. It's just empty. It's a hollow viewing experience. Save yourself. Run from this show. Anyway, that's going to do it for us here at the Lecture Hall. And if you want to support the channel, consider joining our membership or Patreon programs today. $2 a month gets you eternal gratitude in your name on this fancy list. They're all so awesome and cool. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to stay hydrated, keep fighting that good fight, and know it's okay to not be okay. Even if you just woke up today, I'm proud of you. A rising tide lifts all ships, and I can feel one hell of a wave a-coming. Goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you all next time.